Morning, guys. Hey, Sarah. I just have to admit some folks into the room and we'll go from there.
Morning.
How's everybody feeling this morning?
Good.
Well, that was encouraging, Miss Shannon.
I beg your pardon?
Good. Good. It's like, come on, it's Saturday morning. Jesus Christmas, you guys. Oh my God. Man, this chair's too low. Oh
We'll leave that up to you.
Huh?
We'll leave that up to you.
Hey, don't leave it up to me, man. Leave it up to me, man. I'll have you guys out all damn day. Hell, I got 30 miles to do after this.
Oh, light day.
Actually, it is a light day. I was supposed to do 55, but I'm only going to cut it to 30 because I'm leaving tomorrow. So, and tomorrow. So it is kind of a light day. See, I have most folks in here. Bob's in. Good, 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 good. So far, so good. Everybody got something planned to do for today? Workout wise? Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And I don't care if it's just a walk. I don't care if there's some mobility in there. Guys, make sure you have your screens muted, please. I'll get started here in just a second. I'm giving people an opportunity to get into the chat room. So folks, I always start off Saturday morning with a good morning, and today to those dads out there, I want to wish you all a happy Father's Day early. I hope you are with the people you love, and I want to hope that you guys have a really safe day tomorrow, but a fun weekend. So I'm going to recap a little bit about how the week went. Lots of stuff still going on. You guys, I think you guys know my feeling on this whole virus political mess. I'm not going to go into details about that and where I stand on it. My job is to protect you, and that's what we're going to do. So, little update this week. As you know, the governor came out with his order for everybody to wear masks, and I'm going to touch on that a little bit because there's some real gray area if you read all the details, which I did 3 different times. So we have, well, first off, you have to know about the mask, and I'm not going to go into that, but there's a great study by Dr. Graham who speaks about the mask. You might want to look into that. Basically, if you talk to most doctors, your mask does nothing for you. I'm not going to downplay it. I'm just going to give you the facts and let you guys go from there. But here, what we're going to do is when you arrive, I'm going to encourage you, if you feel the need to wear your mask, wear it. Okay? My guess is within 5 minutes of exercise, you will take the mask off and discard it. But I want to encourage you, if you feel the need to do that, go ahead and do it. I'm not going to mandate it here in the business. I know I'm not going to be cited for it. I'll be educated on it, if you will, if authority should arrive. Again, for those of you who don't know, John Hadal, the area supervisor did come by the facility last Tuesday. We walked for about an hour through the facility. He saw everything that was going on here. We hid nothing, including our written policy. He was highly impressed. He said his words exactly were, Vince, this is impressive. You guys have done a great job here. He wants the governor to come see it. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't know how he was going to get the governor here, but I guess the governor's son goes to a private school here in El Dorado Hills. And so he's up here a couple times a week. So anyway, again, I'm not downplaying anything, guys, but what it says in the governor's address is that if you can have if residents can exercise outdoors, and this is fairly a open-ended facility, guys. We have roll-up doors in the back. We have 6 doors in the front. They're open at all times. Air is flowing. We have a ceiling on the top. And you can provide 6 feet of social distancing. That is one of the exemptions. So I'm going to take the area in the middle and I'm going to say, look, if you feel the need that you have to put your mask on, put it on. Use it. There's nobody's judging anything here. For the coaches, I've told each coach that if you're 10 feet away, you need to, I'm encouraging you to put your mask on, but if you don't want to, that's going to be your choice. So that's where I'm at. That's the white elephant in the room. And that's where we're going to go with this. Okay. Again, if you guys, I have to emphasize a couple of house cleaning rules. If you guys are sick, stay home. If you guys even remotely feel sick, stay home. If you have a temperature or you've been around people who've had a temperature or have been sick, stay home. You're going to be asked those questions every morning, okay? If you can't make a session, please go into Pike 13 and take yourself out of that session. It's real important for the coaches. 1, they know who's coming in. 2, they know what modifications they have to make for each person. And then it also opens up the waiting list for somebody else who wants to get in. So it's kind of a courtesy thing, guys, right? If we truly want to take care of each other, then it stems in every aspect. So just a little bit of an update. Does anybody have any questions for me on what I just went over? If you do, ask them now or forever hold your peace. That goes for kids too, guys. Okay. If you feel the need that your kids need to have that mask on, have them wear it. If you feel the need they don't, then make sure you're going over how to wash their hands. Make sure that, you're communicating with them each day about their health, because sometimes kids won't say anything, right? So we need your help as parents to make sure they're safe when they come into the facility as well. So I hope everybody has a good cup of coffee with them right now. And I'm going to recap some things, and then I'm going to go in today's presentation. So today's presentation is deemed the fountain of youth. Okay. I've had a lot of people, and one in particular, and that's why I decided to name it this. She, at the time she was training with me, was 68. And she walked into my office, did not know who she was. And she says to me, "I hear you're the guy." I said, "I don't know. It depends on what you're asking." She says, "I want to do a fitness competition." So I kind of scratched my head and I said, "How old are you?" She says, 68. I said, "Huh." I said, "Why?" She says, "Well, 2 reasons. One is it's on my bucket list. 2 is my daughter-in-law does it. We don't get along quite well, so I want to show her what I can do." I was like, "Well, okay." I said, "We'll give this a whirl." I said, "How much do you weigh?" She says, "About 160 pounds. She says, "How much do I need to weigh?" I said, "Well, to show what we have to show, about 110. And she says, "Oh my." She says, "I never weighed that even in high school." I said, "Well, you're asking, I'm telling." So then she says, I said to her, I said, do you have a coach now? And she says, I do. I said, oh, great. I said, so why are you here? She said, because I heard that you can get this done for me. I said, well, I can't get it done for you, but you can. And she says to me, I said, how much are you eating a day? She says, I'm eating 1,350 to 1,350 to 1,550 calories a day, 1,350 to 1,550. I said, oh, that's good. I said, because I'm going to take you up to about 1,850 and then 2,150. I said, maybe even 2,750. And she says, oh, I don't think I can do that. I said, I'm going to tell you something one more time. If you tell me one more time, I've heard it twice now, of what you think you can't do, and we have no sense working together. So, no, I want to do this. I said, okay. Well, long story short, this lady went from February to June the 8th. She weighed 160 pounds. She stepped on stage at 111 pounds. She placed third in the open division. The closest competitor to her was 14 years younger. My point is, you can do anything you want to do if you want to do it. But see, people talk a good game. And actually going out and doing it is a whole different story. And I say that because this lady said to me, the reason she's here is because this place is the fountain of youth. So I thought to myself, wow, I've been talking about cardio versus strength training. I've been talking about resistance training on the body and the effects. And mind you guys, I don't care what kind of work you do. I get construction guys all the time to tell me, and understand this, I grew up a construction guy. I was a glazier in New York City with my dad. During all my college years, all the summers I came home until I played professional ball. So construction workers can't tell me anything. I was a concrete guy. I was a glazier. I would rip 1,000 pounds of glass, casings open, set glass, 27-man lights of glass. I did it forever because that's what my dad did. We were in New York. My dad was in New York City for 36 years. And I hear guys tell, oh, I get enough exercise at work. BS. Yeah, you get stuff at work. It's called stress on the body. That's what you get. Now, if you want to live a better life, you better start putting in some mobility. You better start thinking about lifting and lifting in the proper manner so that when you do go to your jobs, you're lifting in the right way. We're going to talk a little bit about the hands today for all you people who use hammers and computers and all the other good stuff. Okay? And why am I telling you this? I'm not telling you this to hurt your feelings. I'm telling you this so you have a better quality of life. Okay? So we're going to go into it a little bit, just a little. So to recap, I talked about a week ago about cardio workouts, because a lot of times I get a lot of people in here who say to me, Vince, I want to lose weight. And quite frankly, you need to. Okay? I'm being candid. So do I. I don't exempt myself from any of this, guys. So, because the more weight you have on the body and the less muscle tissue you have, the more stress you have on the joints, tendons, and ligaments. It's just that simple. And it pulls them in different directions. Okay? So think about a lever system, right? If the levers go out of line, what happens to the ropes? They snap and they break over time because we call that overuse. Okay? So just think of the body like a machine. If the parts of the machine aren't oiled, aren't lubricated, aren't taken care of, guess what, guys? The machine breaks down. That's what happens as we age. So to recap, when people come to me and say they want to lose weight, and they tell me I've been doing a ton of cardio work, I say, well, that's okay. It's just not a good way to lose weight. Well, I've lost weight, but I'm getting soft. Well, yeah, of course you are. Because when you're doing cardio work, your body relies on oxygen, right? When you're doing a weight workout, now you've raised your metabolism. Whole different story. Whole different story. So you're burning more. A cardio workout burns more calories than a weight training workout, depending on whether or not what the intensities and the durations look like. However, your metabolism may stay elevated for longer after your weights than cardio. And weightlifting is better for what? Building muscle, guys. So when you build muscle, you protect tendons and ligaments that hook to the bones. And then you strengthen the bones, because if this is a bone, here's my tendons and ligaments. When I lift, I pull, those tendons and ligaments move and they pull on the bone. So this bone has to do what? Has to heal too. So new cells come down, they metastasize to the outside of the bone, they mineralize, and then they calcify. Let me give you a little secret. If you're doing nothing except working, that process is not happening, and that deterioration is taking place over time. And I mean, like after the age of 40, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. And every bit of science that you look at, grab your coffee, every bit of science you look at is going to tell you that. And for those of you who don't pay attention to science, I'm going to suggest that you do. I started paying attention to science after the age of 41 when I had my first ambulance ride out on my lower back. And it was the most excruciating pain I've ever been in my life. And I've broken almost everything there is in my body with concussions, fake teeth, C7 phrase, no feeling in my left arm for 6 months, you name it. Okay, name it. Nothing was as severe as that. So your metabolism will stay elevated more after your weight training workouts and you're building muscle. So really the ideal exercise programs for improving your body composition and your health includes cardio and weights. And here is the reason why. After your strenuous weight workout, your metabolism doesn't return to normal immediately. So it's elevated for quite some time afterward. So after the intense weight session, your body continues to use energy to repair the muscle and burn your fat cells. Glycogen levels are low. That's the energy. While that glyconeogenesis is taking place, your body goes into the fat store to eat. Okay? So instead, when you're engaging in aerobic activities, this causes an oxygen debt. It's like the bank, you got a debt you got to pay back to the bank. Or what we call EPOC, excessive post-oxygen consumption. When you're in this state, your body needs extra oxygen to get back to its resting metabolic rate. And there's the two differences. So that is a recap of stuff that we have talked about. And what I see people's patterns is this. People want to get involved in an exercise program. Well, first you have to know what an exercise program is. It's not going to the gym, walking on the treadmill for a half hour to an hour, getting off, doing a set of curls, maybe a press, because people hate doing their lower body. Why? It hurts. It takes a lot of effort to build those bigger muscles. Okay? And quite honestly, your circulation, a little less down there than up here as we age. So people look at the short-term disadvantages. I'm sore, I'm tired. It takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of effort. Short-term disadvantages of having to work out. They never look at the long-term. And when I say long-term, guys, I'm talking 6 months to a year. Your body doesn't even start making muscle tissue until you're 6 to 8 weeks into a strength training program. And when I talk about strength training program, guys, I'm talking about the 3 movement patterns of the body: sagittal, which is front to back; frontal, if you just take your hands above your head and you just take them out to the side, roll them around; frontal; and then transverse, where you're turning, right? Those are the 3 planes that your body moves in every single day. Think about your job. We do a lot of work in the sagittal plane, but we also turn, we pick up bricks, we do different things. That's transverse. And then you have the movements, right? You push, you pull, you hinge, you squat, and you carry. I could tell you right now, if you go to other facilities, they're not even telling you why you should be doing that. They're not telling you how you should load to do that. And yes, guys, I see people all the time using the same weights for the same exercises all the time. Why? Why are we doing that? Well, there's 2 reasons: effort and fear. I don't want to use more weight because I don't want to get hurt. Well, that's why you're here. You're being coached, you're being supervised. We know when enough is enough. We're not one of those facilities to go, oh, you should just keep doing more. Meanwhile, your form looks like hell. Your movement pattern's not very good. And all we're doing, if we do that, is making a better bad movement pattern, which is going to get you hurt. Or the other side of it is you just don't want to work that hard. So then if you don't want to work that hard, why are you doing this? That's the stuff you have to examine to yourself. So when we're telling you, add a little bit more weight, all the things I just recapped is the reason I'm telling you this. Load the bone, get the tendons, ligaments to pull a little harder, get some more cells to come down. Let's thicken the collagen. Let's talk about that for a second. Can you get your bone stronger? Answer, no. But you can prevent the bones from getting weaker. I know, double-edged sword there, right? So, especially for women, second leading disease is what? Osteoporosis, onset osteopenia, weakening of the bones. We're going to talk about that. So why do we train? Why do we train? Guys, think about this. By the age of 70, the average adult will lose 25% of muscle mass. That is 1% a year after the age of 40. That's why you train. You're not getting this, guys. You're not getting the benefits in your active daily living. You're not getting them in your job. You're just not. Okay? Especially in today's world where a lot of people sit. Sitting is the new smoking, and that is a whole nother topic. I can't tell you how many cervical spines, thoracic spines, mid-backs look like this from looking into the computer, going like this. Hip flexors, right? And things in front of your hips, shortening. Hamstrings, shortening. Major back pain, all from what? Yep, you got it, sitting. And then there's a host of things that go on hormonally in the body as well from the inactivity. And some people, if you think about it, we live in a pretty turtle society. You get up in the morning, watch me here. Get up in the morning, we eat breakfast. Then what do? We get in our cars and we drive to work. Some people, not all, get to work, and what do? Or now they get to stay home and they do this all day long. And if you're lucky enough, now you're in a gym and some people have a personal trainer. So what does a personal trainer do? They sit you in a machine and then they make you lift. Right? Well, why would I sit you down when your spine is 360% loaded sitting and then put another 50 pounds on top of that here at top here, and now I'm 410 loaded? As opposed to standing up where you're about 125% loaded. Big difference, okay? So that, again, sitting, new smoking. So you're going to lose 1% a year after the age of 40. And this is due to what, guys? Disuse and inactivity. It's pretty simple. So any kind of exercise can reverse this loss and build muscle mass and strength. But weightlifting, strength training, and resistance training are the best, especially when done in full range of motion. But see, here's why people don't go to a gym. If you're sitting at home now and you have friends, people around you who don't go, here's why they don't go. I'm going to look stupid. I'm going to look silly. My ego. This is a good one for males. My ego. Well, that's the cool thing about here. Check your ego at the door. I don't really care what you can lift and what you can't lift. I just care about how you move. Fear of getting hurt, or in some cases, people just have had a bad experience. Okay, so there's just a couple of reasons right there as to why people don't go to the gyms. But if you do, and you do what I just said, weight lift, strength train, resistance training, of course, we're going to build your aerobic capacity, and all done in full range of motion. This is what's going to extend your life, barring any pre-existing medical conditions. And even still, if you have pre-existing medical conditions, I don't know one doctor out there, not one, that's going to tell you, oh yeah, don't exercise, it's not good for you. If you do find one, find a new one. So here's a good one for you guys. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services recommends that all adults, keyword is all, adults do some type of strength training that hits all major groups at least 2 times a week. Now, I'm going to submit to you, if you do it 2 times a week, that's your minimum. That's where you're going to hear people say, man, I'm sore all the time. And let me clear that one up for you. Yes, you should be sore. Anytime you're training, you're tearing apart muscle tissue to rebuild new muscle tissue, there's a sense of soreness involved with it. You're not going to get away from that. If you're going to a program where you're not sore, find a different program, because it's not working or you're not pushing it. Guys, most of you know me. I ride bike a lot. I wake up the day after a bike ride, man, I'm sore. And I've been doing it now for 3 years. I'm sore. You know why? Because I push it. Because I have to push it to get what I need to get aerobically, right? Muscle endurance, we talked about that. So muscle strength is the force you can apply to an object. Muscle endurance is how long you can apply that force. So the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, guys, at least, if you don't want to listen to me, listen to them. If your health, I guess, and your ability prevents you for 2 full sessions, then older adults should do as much strength training as their abilities allow. But I think those people need to seek out coaches so they can help them with that process. So that's why we train. By the age of 70, the average adult is going to lose 25% of their muscle mass. That's normal. That's happening. I'm going to submit after the age of 35, but A lot of science will tell you 40. That's 1% a year. It's a lot. So all of a sudden now you have this aha moment, right? Aha moment. Time goes on and you start to notice little things, changes, and usually not the ones we like. A slower metabolism. Now this can be based upon a few things: genes, hormones, lack of sleep, and inactivity. I tell people all the time, if you're tired, you feel sluggish, go out and exercise, watch what happens. A lot of people don't though. What do? They go lay down. They don't do anything. They get up the next day. And of course, some look at the scale and call me and go, I can't believe this happened. Oh, I can. I can. I'm not surprised. Told somebody the other day, it comes down to the will and the want. It comes down to the will and the want. You have to have the will to want to be better. I can't be more plain about it, guys. And I can't find that for you. That's why today this discussion is so important. You have to find that for yourself. Guys, what do you think? You think I enjoy having to go do that every day? No, there's some days it's like, it's a struggle. But after you do it, you look back and go, I just grew today as a person. But again, you have to want to grow. If you're at an age where you think you're too old or you're set in your ways, this isn't the conversation for you. But if you get up off the chair today and you go look at yourself and go, I need to make some changes, then this was worth $1 million. So you got a little slower metabolism. You got decreased muscle mass and strength. Boys, you know what I'm talking about. Ladies, you also know what I'm talking about. How about this one, guys? Increased body fat and you can't figure out why. I've already talked about reduced bone density. Osteoporosis is a bone disease that occurs when the body loses too much bone, makes too little bone, or both. As a result, your bones become weak and may break from a fall, or in serious cases, you can just do this from sneezing or minor bumps. And guys, adults don't die typically from the broken bone. They die from the infections afterward. Whole nother conversation about the immune system and why exercise is so important. We lose balance. We lose neurocapacity. Right? That's why here we have you doing a lot of things on one leg, one arm. Right? Increased bone porosity. I don't want to get too deep into this because this is a term that it's hard for people to understand, but the bone porosity is a volume fraction of bone, which is not occupied by bone tissue. When that increases, the key word behind that is fragile. Stiff joints. I mean, people get up every day and go, oh my God. Right? Slower reflexes and reaction times. Up in Tahoe, when you can get there, you're walking, it's winter time. All of a sudden you hit the concrete and whoop, you slip. There comes a major break because your reaction time wasn't enough that you could catch yourself. Once again, that's what we work on. How about decreased aerobic capacity? You get to the top of a stairs or a hill and you're, oh my God, I got to rest here for a minute. I was there 3 years ago. That's why I got into biking. I rode from my house, which is right by Serrano Parkway at the time, and I rode to the high school and got to the high school and thought I was going to drop dead and fall off the bike. At that moment, I said, okay, Vince, you're going to switch your training around a little bit now. Now you're going to go and do some aerobic work, more than you do power work, but keep the power work in. And now I'm riding 72 and 100 milers up in Tahoe and all over. So my aerobic capacity is much better. One of the most important reasons, guys, to exercise at all, and specifically to include your strength training, is to slow and minimize these changes that I just talked about. And every single one of you is going to get off here today and realize you are exhibiting some, if not all, of what I just described to you. And guys, if you can just feel my energy, if you could just feel my passion to this, I want for you to so much feel, act, and be better. That's why I'm talking with the conviction that I'm talking about. So what are some of the benefits? Well, we just went over preventing bone fractures. Bone fractures and breaks are all too common for us, especially in the older adults, because of the loss of bone density and osteoporosis. Okay? While there can be other causes of osteoporosis, we talked about some of them, and it may need to be managed medically, guys, there's plenty of evidence that exercise can improve bone density. And I know some people that may be on this call that can attest to that. Weight-bearing aerobic exercises and strength training increase density and reduce the risk of breaks. And it's not just because it's making the bone stronger, but you're also working on your balance, reaction time, muscle mass. We talked before. I won't go too deep into this. Strength training increases your muscle mass. By the age of 70, that's right, 25%, guys. 25%, unless you do something about it. And it's due mostly to, you guys know, disuse and inactivity. How about movement? Movement. Improving functional movement. I talked about the different planes: sagittal, walking, running, frontal, side to side, and then transverse, twisting. Can't tell you how many people have hurt their back bending over tying a shoe. Yes, I'm one of them. Just tying my shoe. You see, lower backs don't get hurt because they're not strong. Lower backs get hurt because they lack endurance. It comes from movement. So, where's the two places adults fear most as they age? Movement-wise. You ready for this? I'll give it to you. Getting up off the floor. I have seen people get into adults get into full sweats just trying to get the hell up off the floor. So let me give you an example of that one. I was at a race in Tahoe last year, and we got together afterward by the pool, and some guys had come up to me who knew some other folks and said, "Hey, Vince, tell me again what it is you do." I said, "Well, I'm a movement expert. That's really what I do." And he said, "Well, what do you mean by that?" I said, "Well, let me show you." So I said, "Bob, sit down on the floor." So he sat down on the floor. I said, "Put your hands by your ears. Now, without using your hands and your arms, stand up." And he went and tried to put his, no, can't use your hands and your arms, stand up. Well, he couldn't do it. He said to me, "Well, you know, Vince, when you get to be my age, you're not going to be able to do it either." I said, "Well, how old are you?" He says, 55. I said, "Good, because this year I'm 59. I said, "Now let me show you how to do it." Okay. So that's the first place. Where's the second one? You ever watch people? I have seen it because I go to a lot of hotels when they're open, and I do a lot of different talks, and people fear that first step, getting out of showers. You know, because a lot of hotels don't have the walk-in showers. They got the bathtub, so you got to step up over it, and right? And it's like, shouldn't have to fear that. You should not have to fear that. So the two places adults really hate to be, it's on that floor and getting out of that shower. Slippery floor and all that good stuff. So anyway, increasing strength through training is essential for improving your overall function. Older adults can gain more mobility, walk farther, even reduce the need for assistive devices like canes, walkers, with regular training, guys. Building strength helps with all kinds of functional movements, like sitting, getting in the bathtub, getting out of the shower, getting up from sitting. Just when you're able to go to a restaurant, watch older folks get out of a booth. Watch how long it takes them and the assistive devices they need to use, the rails, the table, the chair, your chair back as they're getting out of it. Doesn't have to be that way. Doesn't have to be that way. This in turn for you makes your life easier and opens up so many other doors and access for you and activities. I can't believe how many people that I talk to who say to me, Vince, I'm coming here because I haven't done this since probably 10 to 15 years ago. Whatever this is, hiking, swimming, riding, an event. Why? Why did you let your life get away from that? What are the things you used to like to do that now you believe your body and mind doesn't allow you to do? Guys, I ride mountain bike all the time. One of the best experiences I've ever had. I see things in nature that I would never have seen before. And yes, some of the stuff I go over is stupid. But if I see something that I think is too dangerous, I just walk the bike around it. But I'm not going to do it. It's pretty amazing how you can clear your mind, and we'll talk about that in a minute too. So it's never too late, guys, to get the benefits of exercising and the exercising that I'm talking about. So now, here's the cool one. This is the cool one. How about your grip? Your grip. The one thing that nobody ever really thinks about when they go to the gym. They don't ever think about how strong is my grip. You ever think how much you rely on your grip every single day? And I'm not talking about your job. Hammers, nails, pliers, computers. I'm not talking about that. Opening cans. Holding the steering wheel. Brushing your teeth. Washing your face. Opening the refrigerator door. So on and so on and so on. And in a lot of cases, for us aging adults, maybe holding grandchildren, picking them up. Just think about how many times a day you use your hands. And for most men, grip strength begins to decline right after the age of 55. Right after the age of 55. And I don't care what you do. Your grip strength starts to decline. And then all of a sudden, there's this little, if you look at my elbow, there's this little tendon that hooks in. You start to get some real soreness, to almost to the point where you can't even pick up a coffee cup. Right? The change could be associated, and probably is in most cases, to a pathology that we call sarcopenia, which is the natural age-related decline in your muscle mass. So look that up today. Sarcopenia. Sarcopenia. And it's natural, guys. Ladies, it's all natural. Everybody goes through it. So when you lose strength in your upper body and lower body, the odds are your grip strength suffers too. So in addition to normal aging, losing that grip strength because of inactivity, when these hurt, nothing else functions. So possible diseases, definite diseases, include osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, medical conditions such as nerve damage, tendonitis in the hands or the wrists. So when you have a weak grip, it lends itself to other aspects of health because of the inactivity, such as when you're inactive, what are the other health risks? Heart attack, stroke. Not even going to get into yet, because I'm going to talk about grip further in another talk because it's pretty complicated. Lack of circulation, blood circulation, oxygen. There's a ton of research out there today, guys, and I've been looking at this for well over a year now, that a stronger grip indicates more muscle mass. You can do more. You have to use these to do everything. One of my key points of nutrition for people, because I get a lot of people say to me, Vince, I don't really like measuring my food. I'm like, well, okay, but you still want an indicator, right? Yes, I do. There they are. There's your measuring cups right there. All right. Here's my protein. Here's my carbohydrate. Here's my fat for my meal. And the cool thing about that measuring cups, they're portable. They go everywhere with you. So the stronger your grip indicates more muscle mass, which results in an increase of activity and better overall health. Now I'm going to pause there for a second. Does anybody have any questions about that? Think about this, guys. When your hands hurt, when your hands aren't strong, how many of you have to rely on somebody else to open up a can for you? How about this one? Oh, honey, I can't get this. Would you open this for me? Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's not ladies to men. It's men to ladies. Anybody have any questions on, and again, that was so important. Anybody on the grip? So I'm ordering up here. The way to measure hand strength is called a dynameter. And I'm going to have one here so I can test your guys' grip strength. And we have certain kilogram parameters that we'll want you guys to be at. But if you ever see, it's probably out on the floor, I have a ball. Looks like a little purple ball. Except my purple ball weighs 6 pounds. And you'll see me walking around with it on the floor, doing weird little things with it all the time. I'm really just doing that to strengthen my grip, to prevent my elbows from hurting. I also have little finger bands that I put on. If I'm sitting at home every once in a while and I'm watching TV, or I have those bands on, and I do at least 3 sets of 30 every single day. Because not only do I have to work my flexors, but I have to work my extenders as well. Or when you're around the gym, grab 5-pound plates by your fingertips and just walk down and back with them. Then go to a 10-pound plate, walk down and back with them. Right? How about when you're at home, a very simple thing to do, take a ball of clay and just put it in your hands and just move it. I have rice buckets in the back of the room, and I do it a lot with kids because of their grip strength. And I tell them there's a $100 bill in the bottom of the rice bucket. If you can just knead the rice bucket down and you find it, it's yours. They're never going to get to the bottom. This grip is going to go before they'll ever get to the bottom. So your grip strength, guys, when you're at home, just get some clay and literally sets of 30, just like this. And watch what happens to this forearm when you do that. That's your grip. That's your grip. Okay? You won't have to be asking people to do things for you. And you're going to want to do more stuff from a strength training standpoint to gain more muscle mass to do the things that you want to do. And the last thing I really want to touch on here before we shut it down is, this is an important one, guys. Better mental health. Better mental health. You know, some folks are still staying home. And it's not good. I understand it, but it's not good. Just as important as your physical health in aging is your mental health, because as we get older, it puts us at risk for certain things. Loneliness, which leads to social isolation, which leads to depression and other mental health issues. Mental health is very real. Very real. And it's unfortunate. I had a young man who, probably about Gabe's age, and we lost him Wednesday night. And he was a great kid, a great football player, even better wrestler. But, you know, it's very real. So building strength, which again increases your mobility and function and improves your overall health, boosts your mood and overall quality of life. You know, like I said, there's some folks staying home more. They're eating more. They're exercising less. So the output is not more than the input, and they're gaining weight. And all these things are happening. You're feeling lonely. You're feeling isolated. You're getting more depressed. Do something about it. Do something about it. And I'm not saying rest isn't important, because it is. But you don't need to be in bed until 9, 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. Go do a little something and then have to take a nap at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. If you have to do that, man, there's something going on in that camp of yours. Something wrong. And change has to be made. I don't care if you're 12, 13, 14, 15 years old. What do those kids like to do? Sit in front of the damn video games all day long. And what do? Chips, candies, cookies, M&Ms, or whatever the hell they can is sitting right by them. But we're somewhat at fault of that because we allow it to happen. They need to understand that boost as well, guys. They need to understand that as well. The talk today, for those of you, and I hope others will go back and listen to this, is probably the most important chat I will ever have with you. Probably the most important chat I will ever have with you. And like I said, the only reason I'm so convicted with this as I speak is because I know a lot of you are suffering from this. And you don't have to. You don't have to, but you do have to make a conscious decision and say, I need to do something to be better. Because if you're sitting there going right now, yeah, I don't really need to do this. I can wait till August. Man, you are just fooling yourself. That's just more time gone by. More time gone by. And guys, gals, I submit to you, watch the people around you. Watch them move. Watch them participate. You won't see it. How many people you see just hanging back, sitting on the fence? It's not because they want to be on the fence. It's because they don't feel they can be in the game. That's why right now there's some folks not coming back to the gym. Oh, I don't think I could do that in 50 minutes. Man, you just talked yourself out of the game. Again. Remember, if you always do what you always done, you'll always get what you always got. And you can't look to me because I'm going to tell you things you need to do that you're not going to want to hear. Or hopefully you will hear and you'll do something about it. My question to you today is, if you're not back in here, why not? Why not? Answer that question. Some may have a valid answer, as long as what you're doing at home is what we're doing here. But in most cases, it's not. So again, go back and examine, what is it you really want? What kind of life do you really want? If you want more out of your life, and guys, we got to start participating in what I'm talking about here today. Any questions? We got about 3-4 minutes. I'd love to answer them for you. I'll hit the chat button here real quick. Hold on one second, Deb. I'm just going to see M&M's, will and want. First chocolate. Agreed. I totally agree with you. You're absolutely right. It is the will and the want. But as parents, we have to urge those kids to move. They got to get out and do. Okay. No, and later is not the answer. Like, no, you know what, Caden, you're going to do it now. Let's go. So it's going to have to come down to that. And I understand your circumstances. That's a whole different education on another side. Okay. Deb, go ahead.
Hi, Vince. Yeah, I've been walking and doing these things. I'm obviously not back at the gym. I will be back. But my question goes back to the hands. I've been experiencing in the last month, like my knuckles are a little bit achy, you know, just from daily activity. And I've noticed that, you know, like you were saying, to open a jar, I can do it, but it takes a lot more effort. So by improving grip strength, will that help with the knuckles pain as well? Or is that something that's a side issue from what you're presenting?
No, that will absolutely help. And the reason it will help, remember, think about the tendons and ligaments here. Okay. So the stronger the muscle tissue is, the better the tendons and ligaments around the joints. Mm-hmm. That's why I talked about full range of motion on stuff. But one is connected to the other. So these are connected to these that are connected to these. So the stronger you can make the whole element, the better that element will function. Now, we also know through science that training, eating, hydrating is phenomenal for what? The joints.
Right.
So it's a great help for arthritis. It's wonderful. Okay. And you're also improving the neurological pathways. So for you, I would recommend, and I'll show you when I see you next, I'll show you the bands that I'm talking about.
Okay.
You can get online. You can just order them. They're not expensive. And I would get a piece of clay, a round piece of clay, and just start kneading the clay. Just as you're sitting around, just knead the clay. And that will help with the hands. Absolutely. And that will help you gain strength in other parts of the body as well. Make sense?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions, guys? Everybody good? So I'm going to expand a little bit on this next week because it's such an important topic. And I just hope that you guys today get out there. I hope you do something for yourselves. Go do something you ordinarily don't do. I don't care if it's kayaking. I don't care if it's riding. I don't care if it's walking around a lake. Get on some unstable surfaces. Okay. The body's going to adapt even on unstable surfaces. Okay. So get out and do that. Go out and see what this world has to offer us. I know it sounds crazy, But I'm telling you, the other day I was riding, and here's this little mama deer, man, sitting in the front yard. And she's just perched up. And I'm thinking to myself, now that is why I'm out here riding. That right there. And I just, boom, hit a picture of it, put it on Strava, and away I went. Guys, 3 years ago, I probably would never have thought about that or even seen it. Or if I did see it, would have been like, wow, that really happens around here. All right. Go out and do some things, man. Open up life a little bit. If you want more out of life. Okay. Dads, happy Father's Day. If you're not a dad, great weekend, guys. Have a super weekend. Take care of your food. Make sure that you guys are having some nice small meals throughout the day. Make sure you're hydrating a ton. Make sure you're spending time with your loved ones, and take some moments for gratitude, man. I mean, you know, it can be taken from you in a heartbeat, as we found out Wednesday morning, and it's tough. It's tough. You know, great kid, and you know, I know he's in a great spot. I know he's not struggling with demons anymore, and it'll be okay. We'll see each other on the other side. But you know, just love the ones you're with, because it's so important. I love you guys. Have a great weekend, and make it happen. Okay? Take care now. Thank you, guys.